This podcast contains some explicit language. Viewer discretion is advised.
And I just remember crying and knowing that this is going to go two ways. Either my mom will love and accept me or she won't. But it was so much more important for me now, obviously, to be who I am.
The following podcast is a Frederick Films production, sponsored by the American Licorice Company.
Hey everybody, my name is Norris Frederick and I'm your host, and I want to welcome you guys back to the Embrace Podcast. These past few years, this pandemic has completely turned our world upside down, and we have had to rely on people for certain things, such as doctors, nurses, surgeons, you name it. There's been a divide where certain people are pinned against other people and so on and so forth. Not really necessarily having opportunities to branch out and meet people from different races, different sex, different genders. Today, I want to introduce you guys to a person named Alfonzo, better known as Fonz. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Hi.
Man, so let's just get into it.
Okay, let's get into it.
Alrighty. So you are an ICU nurse.
I am, yeah. I've been particularly neurotrauma ICU. I've been nursing for a little over almost 4 years now. But yeah.
So not that what you're doing is already a challenge, but how is it being gay in this space?
Okay.
Told you we jumping right into it.
We going, bro. Okay. Gay nurse. We're taking care of humans. My job is to be a nurse. And whether I have black fingernail polish on, whether I have long hair and am a guy, or I have tattoos and that's being exposed, that has nothing to do with my ability to take care of that person.
So you touched on something, you just grazed over it, and it was about being human. It has been talked about more about the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
What it's like to live in that space, what it's like to maneuver in that space, and also the community around what you guys got going on. I come from a background where none of that stuff, I'm not going to treat anybody different, right? I just see you as a human.
Right.
But I know that other people share different opinions about that. And what does that mean to you in the position in life as an adult? What does that mean for you?
As far as, let's see. As far as being gay and coming out and stuff like that, I always like kind of remind people to heterosexuals don't have to do that. People that live in the standard, almost like I said, like standard classic American, norm, don't have to come out or ever have to have a story. Being from a loving family like you described, I'm sure that would have been an easier transition. However, you could have two gay parents, you can have two lesbian moms, and no matter what, their kid will still at one point have to say to them, I am gay, or I am bi, I am queer, even though those parents are part of that population themselves, because it's not a like being human is so specified. It's kind of in this like contraption context that we've created because of these standards. So being part of this population, being queer and stuff like that, it is very challenging. And I've met so many people that have had different stories and coming out stories. And I myself come from a Filipino Catholic background on my mother's side.
And that's not, being gay isn't looked at well in the Catholic religion, is it?
Not known. My grandmother, I have a very, very matriarchal down grandmother. She's the best woman on earth, and I have a gay uncle too. So she did not care. She was unfazed. Nothing about it has ever been weird. When gay bars started opening back up, I've been to drag shows with my grandmother. However, the culture, I believe, of where I kind of grew up, being from a lower economic class, being from Oakland, California, and stuff like that, that was definitely something that you were not supposed to be.
I can't relate to the things that you are going through and have gone through, right? And I don't even want to like say I can understand, because again, that's not something that I have got to understand. Has there ever been a point where you felt ashamed that you felt that you were different than others? Or was there a point where you felt ashamed, like, I don't want to say this because, and then I have to admit to myself that this is true?
Oh, absolutely. Growing up, if you were to go through my playlist, I always like tell people like a funny, I have such a random amount of music from every like country, pop, rock. And when I was younger, I remember being afraid to, and I love musicals, and I used to be afraid to like tell the people, my peers, that I liked musicals. Or they were just like little hints because once again, my ethnic background and where I come from, I've always heard that people being made fun of butterflies, fairies. That's what my own like family would call my uncle who was gay.
So that's
who is
what
gay. Yeah.
that's the term that they would use
Yes.
in representation.
And to his face, like,
Wow.
and it was something. So,
And you were a witness to this.
and I was a witness to it. And I remember being really young, and people would ask me if I was gay, or like I would hear the adults saying like Fonz is gay.
Did you like, were you? Did you know? Did you consciously know?
I always tell people like, looking back, I was gay, and there was nothing that made me. And because I'm gay, there wasn't a changing point. There wasn't something that happened to me. I wasn't convinced that I was gay. I'm not doing it out of an act of rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing the black fingernail polish out of rebellion, but
Live your life.
but live my life, yeah. But I was gay. I mean, but because I've heard it being so negative and like people being bullied over it, and like I said, seeing my uncle be called like things like that, it was like, okay, well then I can't do that.
Right.
In high school, like I liked, or like when I was a kid, I just liked blue, like, and I only wore blue, and I was always afraid to like ask my mom, like, oh, can I play with the Barbie dolls, or can I do this? I loved Sailor Moon when I was a kid, and like my brothers like always talk about it, like, oh, we knew you were gay, like you like Sailor Moon, you like drew a lot, which is crazy that drawing is something that we associate with being gay.
Right.
But as I was getting older and realizing that these are bad things, quote unquote, I started suppressing them. So when I was in junior high and, you know, hanging out with like these cool teenagers, which I went to a school with like 3 other kids, but
Wait, hold on. You said 300 or 3 other?
3 other kids.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that interesting tale soon. But I remember like, okay, well, I wanted to wear jeans, but like I would specifically only get straight jeans. And then it evolved to, I was like, well, I think I want to do more, I want to dress nicer. So I did slim jeans. And like even little skater kids around me wearing skinny jeans, but I was like, I can't do that because people are already questioning if I'm gay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just something that I did not want to be. Unfortunately, because of society's standards and like, you know, the classic American that, you know, we picture in our head, you have to be that. And when you're slightly different, or the other people around you, your peers, are not thinking or not talking about what you're thinking in your own head, like, you have to hide.
Right.
You just keep it. I'm a pretty extroverted adult, but when I was a kid, my social. So yes, I went to a high school with 3 other kids. I actually graduated with only 1 other person in my class, and
What kind of school is this? Is this a religious school?
Yeah,
Homeschool?
it was a Christian school.
Okay.
There were like it was kindergarten through 12th, but like in my like high school like time, there was only like 2 or 3 of us in the classroom. I think like the most we had were like 6.
Overwhelming at that point. Huh?
Yeah, like I was like getting like oh, everyone's talking too much around here. But yeah, they were like kindergartners and stuff like that too. But
So, okay. Catholic background,
yes,
Christian school,
yes,
3 people
3 people.
in your high school.
Yeah, like I said, it varied at times, but I think at the end of my last year, there were 3 of us.
3 people. Okay. So, what was it like at that time in your life, navigating between the ages of, 13 or 14, all the way to 16, 17, and then 18? Had you come out yet at that point?
Oh, not at all. I didn't come out until I was 22,
22.
which was, I feel like it's actually surprisingly, that's like pretty young.
Really?
Yeah, especially for our generation, because of like the culture and acceptance and pride and stuff like that. A lot more teenagers, I feel like, feel safer to come out now, but especially in that very conservative upbringing, I for sure did not like it. A funny thing I used to do, and I was like, it's like kind of weird, but I used to subscribe to GQ magazine and I would read it, but like I would never tell my friends that I like was like into fashion.
Right.
I never wanted anyone to like, because once again, I'm like, well, they're gonna think like, why does Fonzo like to wear suits? Or I actually used to participate in a church, and I would go 5 to 6 days a week.
Wow. That's a full-time job. And
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And that was just, and like I was part of the worship team. It doesn't sound like it now because I lost my voice, but and so I got to wear suits. And then I bought a blue suit once when I was like 16 or 17, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. And like that was my way that I got to like finally feel like a little bit more of expressive. But definitely, like, if anything was ever said that was like minutely, like I said, it was like, if that could be gay, I would turn it around. Or I would use the excuse of like, I'm not dating any girls because I want to wait for the right one.
Right.
And I want to have this life of, like, because that's like a big thing, too, that you're kind of taught is you keep your virginity, all that jazz, as long as you can, hold her tight. And then, so that was like a good, like, kind of scapegoat for that angle of like me dressing. But that was more like when I was like 17 or 18 is when I started becoming a little bit more expressive with like what I wanted to wear. And I loved Adam Levine growing up, like to this day. But and that was like another kind of like scapegoat. It was like, no, I'm like not sexually attracted to him. Like, I want to be him. And I would like literally Google like Adam Levine outfits and like try to mimic those because he was a straight man. He's a big ally, but still a straight man. So I was like, okay, well, that straight guy's doing that. So it's okay if I can wear like a flannel. Like, that's how I was like,
right.
Like almost as far as like dressing up, I was kind of navigating around what other like celebrities or like straight characters were doing.
So I got a question for you. And I've always been curious about this because I have my own perspective being a black male in America. All these companies are now more involved in like pride and the community and things like that. Is that just to kind of not step on people's toes? Is it just to kind of show face, or do you think that a bunch of these companies actually truly stand behind what it is that you guys are going through and what you guys represent?
That's really interesting. Because I always talk about this too. Once again, I get the opportunity to work in an environment that like no one really cares anymore. Once again, like I said, it was like, okay, he's gay. He also just saved a life. So so what's wrong here?
Right.
I have met teachers in Indiana that they couldn't come out or talk about being gay because it was in Indiana. So like that was just like a big no-no. You could get fired or whatever. whether these companies are doing it, like you said, to almost save face or to be more popular with Instagram or anything like that, or it's just good marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Either which way, I'm going to look at it as, but that flag, my rainbow flag, the bi flags, the queer transgender flags, whether you're doing it or not to get an extra dollar, at least you're exposing it, and
sure.
people now get to see it.
For sure. So you put a positive spin on it.
I just feel like that's the only way you really can do about it, because I can sit there and complain like, oh, they're fake, they're not doing this. And I agree, you know, if you are doing shady things, I know like with Disney, it was kind of like weird with the, like some laws earlier on this year. And then they kind of came back and were just like, pride, pride, pride. Look at more gay cartoons. And it's like, good. Well, like either which way, we bullied you into exposing us.
Right.
And if that's what it has to come down to, then that's what it comes down to.
Unstoppable. What makes you different makes you great.
Embrace your punch.
Sorry, bullying is the worst word, but
It's like, but yeah.
yeah.
But you're using it in a way of like finally getting your messaging heard in the space where you want it to be heard.
Correct.
And
we're not doing anything like harmful or anything like that.
True.
We're just calling, but like we'll just call people out like, hey, why I noticed your company is donating into this, or hey, I know your company isn't really representing people anymore, like
Right.
humans.
Mhm.
We're all human. We're not being represented the same way that everyone else is.
I hate that I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time.
Oh, you good?
I heard this on TikTok.
Okay. I
But-
just downloaded TikTok.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Oh.
Everything in life that is fun is on TikTok. Trust me.
Oh, okay. Well, buckle up.
Buckle up. But there is this comedian that started his show talking about the LGBTQ community fighting for just equal rights. Not for better rights than anyone else, not for more rights than one, but just for equal rights. Touch on that a little bit. What does that mean? I know what it means, but what does it mean to you?
It's equal, and that's and I talk about that all the time. That is the funniest. So once again, I was in Indiana for a few years, and you did cross paths with the average person who probably didn't like gay people. And you hear a lot of these like justifications where like, yeah, well, can't you guys just call it something other than marriage? No.
What would be the alternative?
Yeah. What would be the alternative?
An everlasting partner?
An everlasting, yeah. Or how about this? Just like you said, equal rights. I'm not saying you got to go be gay. I'm not telling you to go kiss a man. I'm not
Right.
telling you to wear a beautiful skirt like me. What I'm asking and will demand is that you treat me equally.
For sure.
Why can't I be with my partner who I love, who loves me, and I can't share their insurance because we're not married?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even heck, I don't even want to call it marriage. That's fine. But like that, think about that. Like I can't, but there was no other way before, thankfully now we can for now. But at one point we weren't allowed to.
It's mind-blowing to me. It is absolutely mind-blowing to me that what you choose to do with your life, how that could affect a complete random stranger into
Yes.
living their own life.
I always tell people, mind your business.
Simple.
It doesn't have to be political. Like we can talk politics or do whatever you want. My only request from you is mind your business. If you don't want to look at me, look the other way. Just mind your business. But that's the problem. Not everyone wants to mind their business. People do want to.
Everybody has an opinion, right?
Everyone has an opinion. That's
Let
fine.
me ask you this. And this has seemed to be true in most other cases. And I would love to hear your perspective. For those who are so angry and upset with same gender marriages or whatever the situation may be, is the underlining medium that they're trying to express is either they're afraid because that's truly who they want to be and want to be able to express the way that you guys are?
I definitely, okay, so I personally feel like there's definitely people out there that are like that for sure. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's a lot of it can just be moral values and the way you're taught and the way you're brought up and stuff like that. And like I said, I was afraid of being gay because I didn't want to do it. It was going to send me to somewhere bad. And that's what I was told my whole life.
Right.
And so, people have their opinions and they have their beliefs and they stick with them so strongly that, unfortunately, sometimes they want to force it on other people. However, something that I've noticed being gay and being in the community, being on apps and like dating apps and whatnot, and it is so sickening to me, but you will occasionally find, they're called DL, so like down low dudes, won't show face, that's fine, like whatever. And then be like, really like almost like homophobic, like, oh, I only want to be with someone that looks like a girl, or oh, I only want to be with someone like, you can like and love whoever you want. You can have your preference. That's perfectly fine. But there's like this weird, dark, like, I want to say like a genre of the gay population that's like, it is down low and they're like hyper masculine, which is fine. I'm not saying once again, you don't have to do what I do, but it's like they almost discredit or they make fun of or bully other gay men because they're
gay themselves.
And they're gay themselves because they're gayer than you.
Weird.
You're doing the same exact thing or you're thinking the same exact thing as I am. That's the definition of your sexuality. But because you are super buff and then, like I said, wear more like hetero things or like go to sports or something like that, like they will try to bully like more queer individuals or just like like I don't know, like not even, and like discredit them too, or just like I said, it's like a competition. And that's the thing, it's like humanity isn't a competition.
Right.
Every single person is born, they wake up and they're living their own life, or at least they should be. But in order to feel good about ourselves, it's like you have to belittle another person.
Of course.
And I think that's where a lot of it can like stem from too. Because if I can tell you and put you in a box, then that means I'm in charge of you, right?
Of course.
Mind your own business though.
Simple. It's a simple ask.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, people would lose their absolute mind if you tell them how to raise their kid, but they're more than open to tell you how to live your life.
Oh, absolutely.
That's beyond
how
me.
to live my life, how I should wake up. And once again, how I should wake up every day, what I should be wearing, what I should be, because that's power for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just lame. Like I said, it's just every day, or you always hear like terms, and you know what? I actually had a conversation with my brother recently, because my uncle made a joke, and I'm Filipino, and I'm gonna be very honest with you, it was pretty racist. And I was like, don't say that. And immediately everyone was like, why? And you know how it was like back in the, earlier on in the 90s and stuff like that, a lot of comedians use race as a platform for their jokes.
Of course.
But this is where I'm coming from. I don't think it's funny. And I want to tell you, I don't think it's funny. And I just told my uncle, I was like, excuse me, but I have a black friend, and not to call you out, but she has her master's degree and you barely passed high school. Like,
right.
And I'm not one-upping you or anything like that, but I don't think it's funny.
So when you, oh my gosh, this is what I'm here for. Okay. So when you're,
I'm going to stay on topic.
So when you're in these spaces, so what I'm hearing, if I, as a black man, were to stand up and share my opinion about something, I become the hostile black person. What happens in your space when you stand up to a straight person and share your opinion? How do they perceive you?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care.
Ooh, the confidence.
You can, like I said, so I actually surprisingly hang out with a lot of like heterosexuals. Being a nurse, I hang out with a lot of girls, but my close friends, like my best friend, is a straight heterosexual white male, the first guy I came out to. And because I have these friends that I know that love me, that I know that care for me, let me do whatever I want, wear whatever I want. Like I said, he's a straight corn-fed white boy from Indiana.
Okay.
And for his birthday, I wore a skirt and a blazer and had my nails done and did everything, and he did not care.
Felt comfortable too.
He did not and I didn't. And I sit there. I didn't text him like, "Hey, do you care if I do this?"
Because
Or
you're
like,
showing up as you.
yeah, and
And he accepted that.
yes. And when I first came out and stuff like that, like I said, I was more straight, and because I'm guilty of doing it back in the day. Like, oh, that's so annoying when guys wear makeup. Like, it's like, why? What standard developed that men can't wear makeup? Because that was something that I was taught and raised,
Right.
and I use that as like a credential for someone that's cool or good or important or right. And as soon as you try to convince me that something is right, that's when I'm like, I personally don't care. Because if you are so convinced that what you are thinking, what you are doing is right and correct, you're not growing and you're not changing. And how can you develop as an individual when you're right
All the time.
all the time?
So this is so interesting. And for so many different reasons. Do you deal with discrimination within your own community?
Oh, absolutely.
And what does that look like?
It's very interesting because I mean, there's like a joke about like gay tribes, which
A
is
gay tribe.
like twinks, bears.
No, don't know what that means.
Okay. So like a bear is just like a more masculine guy. He's probably hairier, bigger, got a beard. Twink is smaller, smooth. All of these, identifiers once again that, we label humans and practice of what beauty is and the way and like I said, whatever floats your boat, whatever you're into, that's fine. Just mind your own business. And there's actually like, I don't know if I can say this.
Live your life.
They're like fetish bars almost, where like, especially when I came out here to Seattle, I was very surprised by it. I heard of this Seattle Freeze, and so I just Googled gay bar, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go to a gay bar. Went to one, and like the bartenders were just like, so each of the bars are kind of for like a certain sect of like, gay man. Yes, of course you can, jump around, go to all of them or whatever. But like, you definitely, when you do go into these areas, you do see a commonality amongst the population that are participating there. Like I said, though, for me personally, I don't care if you don't want me here. I'm gonna sit down. My money's just as good, and I'm gonna do whatever I want legally. Of course,
Sure,
of course,
of
of
course.
course, of course. But I mean, it's even funny too because like during Pride and stuff like that, like I once again, my friend Caleb, he goes to gay bars with me all the time,
And he's straight.
and we actually sat down at a bar out here called Union, and we're nurses, so we work a lot of weekends. But the first time I went there, I was like, it was like a Tuesday, so it was like super chill. We like got some fries, and we're like, oh cool, like this place is like just chill. There were so many gay men in that bar that night.
Like more than you're used to.
I guess no. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I was just surprised because like I didn't put two and two that like this bar is probably lit on a weekend. And so we like beeline to the bar because I was like, and this is my thing too. I'm all about consent. I don't like to be touched, and I don't like no one touching my friends. We'll leave it at that. And so I was just like, we're gonna sit at the bar, and he was like, because if anyone like messes with you, I'm gonna be like really annoyed.
Right.
And the bartender like was laughing. She was like, "Oh, you guys are cute." Da, da, da. I was like, "Yeah." And then we just like kind of told her, I was like, "Oh, he's straight." And she goes, "You're probably the first straight guy who's been in here on a Saturday in like years." So
Really?
yeah, because it just like I said, and that is our safe places. You know what I mean? Like I said, being gay, you don't, and that's what blows my mind. Even though we still have these like segregated bars. Like I said, if they're themed bars, that's more fun. Like, oh, like a country bar, or like,
sure.
or like, this one looks like an aquarium. That's cool. But just the fact that like we still like kind of like expect each other not to be in our areas. Like, I mean, being gay doesn't mean you're 1,000% the best human on earth. Let's just call it for what it is. We're still people. We still judge. We still have opinions and of each other. In Indiana, there were only really like 3 gay bars. And I noticed a lot, and I've had this conversation with quite a few of other members of my community of color, that there still is a thing like white gays still kind of hang out with majority of white gays.
So there's a racial divide within the gay community.
There can be, and I do know like it's a lot easier to hang out with someone of a similar background, or stuff like that. Like I understand that. I'm not saying like you guys have to invite me to everything now because I'm calling you out, but there was, and I remember like having that discussion with a few gay men that were black, and I was like, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't get invited to the white parties." And
what?
Yeah, I mean, just because, and then, but the irony of it is, it's like, we're gay, right? We're supposed to be promoting equality. We want equality. We've been dying for it.
Right.
We've literally been killed for it. And
you guys
it's
are fighting the same fight. Why make it more complicated?
And it still exists. Like I said, I was like, I think a lot of it has to do with elitism, socioeconomic differences and stuff like that. But like, it is so prevalent when you see it. And it's just so, it's kind of unnerving even for me. I get like, there's definitely, I'm not nervous to walk into any space. Like I said, I was like, I don't care. I was like, you don't like it, whatever. But it is so unnerving that it even exists.
Right.
Yeah.
See, this is the type of stuff that if you're not a part of this community, you would never know that it exists.
Correct. Oh, absolutely. We have terms, we have slang, we have like whole, I think it's like queer theory and stuff like that, we're struggling with, we're figuring out because our culture is just now being allowed. Gay marriage was legalized in 2008, 2012,
which is
2008.
still ridiculous that it took that long.
Yeah, like back in the day, older gay men used to adopt the younger one so that way they can give them their houses, or so that way they can be in charge of each other's wills or stuff like that. Because during like the AIDS pandemic, in the 70s, 80s, if you were gay and you died, whatever you had just went to your family, and that's if they wanted it. And a lot of times your family didn't even want you. So your body was just left and they couldn't release it to your friend, your lover. They're not married to you.
Fonz, what world are we living in where what you do with your
planet
life,
Earth?
It can't be. It can't be. I find it so hard that we are put on this earth to destroy each other and to control everybody else's life.
Right. Who's got the bigger stick?
That's
Why?
It. Why would it even matter?
Yeah.
This is so interesting because I feel like having these types of different conversations where you can actually be open and like in a safe space and be open to ask anything that comes to my mind or give an answer.
Right.
I feel like the media has controlled the narrative for so long.
Yes.
And even now during this conversation, I feel myself having to tiptoe around what's politically correct.
Yeah. And don't tiptoe. I'm a nurse, so we got thick skin, and I got a dark sense of humor, so don't worry about it.
But it's just so weird. Like, you're a minority.
Yeah.
You're gay. You have a career where you're saving people that may not even want you to touch them because in some weird space in their mind, they think that if you touch them, they can get infected by it, right?
Oh, that has happened. Oh, that has happened multiple times. And that's
whoa. Walk me through this.
And so that's the thing that I didn't tell you. So yes, hospital culture, like nurses, doctors, RTs, PTs, surgeons, yes, we are accepting of each other. Hopefully, we are understanding that it's not, we all come from different ways of life and stuff like that. Once again, I am qualified to do all of those things, and we all know that about each other. However, that does not mean that your population that you are taking care of necessarily cares. I've literally been in a room once where a family member made a comment about a fag, and the other nurse that was in the room, and honestly, at the time, this was in Indiana. At the time, I didn't feel like I was a baby nurse, and I felt like I couldn't, and I didn't have long hair. I had like very like normal standard comb over, so I didn't like look necessarily like any certain way. And he just made the comment about a fag, and like they like chuckled
Out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. I don't know if he like thought about it or just thought it was funny. And the other nurse, she was an OG. This little fiery redhead. She goes,
For those who don't know what an OG is, it's an original gangster.
an original gangster. She was like, "Nuh-uh, get out right now. I'm not
Kick him out
playing."
the
And he
hospital.
was like, "What?" She goes, "We're not gonna talk like that, and don't ask to come back."
to
he
the
was like,
hospital
Yeah, and she was like, "Well, or this is her mom." She goes, "Cool, you just lost your privilege. Get out."
of the hospital.
Yeah, because she was not putting up with it. She goes, "You can try again tomorrow." Like, because once again, I'm in the ICU, so we have small, like, these aren't big rooms, like, and she was like, and the validation was like, I don't feel safe in me at my job. Like, you can't act a fool in a hospital room. Like, we're doing things. We're not sitting there like twiddling our thumbs. Like, we're titrating medications that are saving your life, that are controlling your blood pressure, making sure you're sedated while you're intubated. We have a lot of things we have to focus on, and we don't need to feel unsafe when we're in a room.
Why make it hostile when you came to us?
Oh, people demand miracles from us.
Like I
Yeah.
could imagine that.
Yeah.
But if I am suffering from a bullet wound,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I don't want him to touch me because of his sexual preference.
You get that all the time.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because the hole in my shoulder isn't as important as to who's going to cure me.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a pretty snarky nurse now. And I'll just be like, okay, well, have fun stopping the bleed by yourself then. Like, or you kind of just have to be a little rough and be like, well, this is who you get because we're short staff and I'm gay. Like,
all your academic credentials, all your achievements, the years that you spend in school go out of the window because of how you choose to live your life.
it doesn't happen all the time, but it definitely happens. You'll get people asking, can I get an American nurse?
What the hell does that mean?
Someone who speaks like proper English?
And
Like,
what does that mean?
people, it's wild. Yeah.
I might have to do
It's
a fact
wild. It is wild. Let me tell
check. I'm
you.
gonna have to do a fact check. But is English the most spoken language in America?
Yeah, it is. It still is. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Ooh,
English and Spanish.
I'm editing that part.
Yeah.
out. But I want an American nurse that speaks proper English.
Because and the majority, especially out here, we call it the Filipino mafia.
The Filipino mafia?
We have a lot of immigrants that are nurses. They come from their countries, leaving their families, come out here. Filipino mafia. There's a lot of Filipino nurses, especially on the West Coast, because we're just closer.
Right.
And they come out here. A lot of African nurses, too. In Florida, there was a lot of like Haitian and Colombian nurses and whatnot. And sorry that they didn't speak English growing up, but they came to America. They went to nursing school the same way I did, which is a bachelor's degree in most cases. We're trained. Like, we're not, once again, I was like, I don't know what people think that like we do, and they're just here to support their families. A lot of the times they will send all this money that they're making, all this money, but right. that they're making and support their families in different countries. So now they don't even have the opportunity to be with their family, but they're doing what they have to do to support their family.
Right.
And you will get all the time, I need an American nurse, or can I get someone who speaks English? Rude.
Let me ask you this.
Are you in need of digital content for your business? Family portraits for the holidays? Videos and photos for your social media? Frederick Films provides a plethora of digital marketing services that can push your brand or business forward. Visit frederickfilms.com to learn more.
First of all, being a country that will charge you an arm and a leg for just a doctor visit,
Oh, yes.
are we the best country worldwide to get health care?
I think technically no, because Sweden's so cool. Like, but Sweden's population is what, like 12 people? Like, it's tiny. I was like, no wonder why their economy is like flourishing. It's like they have to take care of the 12 people. Like,
Right.
But I think like there were medical practices and they have like free healthcare and stuff like that. But once again, their population doesn't have to support millions and millions and millions.
Right. I guess I'm talking about like overall care. Like, if you got hurt here and had the option to go anywhere, would this be the first place that you would go? And I'm talking about this being America.
That's a really hard question. Only because like it's based off of like, that's a little harder only because it's based off physicians. Once again, we're all individuals. We're all humans too. We all make mistakes. And even in America, America does have pretty high standards. Like as a nurse, I'm a travel nurse. And I'm like, I want to go to like another country and go do something, but I know I won't make money there. Like even like feasibly similar pay, because in other spots, like they just don't require as much like training and stuff like that.
Right.
So I mean, the American standard for medicine, it's pretty high, I think. I'm like pretty impressed with some of the stuff we can do and like the sterility in our standards that we expect. So
This might be a
it's so hard.
Right. This might be a catch-22. Oh my gosh, I hate that I'm about to ask this. When someone's asking for the American nurse, for the nurse that speaks English or a doctor or whomever, are they American themselves usually?
Yeah.
Okay. I've always been so curious about that.
Yeah. For them, yeah.
Because that would be crazy if I'm like from a different culture or a different race or background, and I'm like, I prefer.
I would like an American nurse.
Right. I would feel so pretentious.
And you know what when I hear comments like that, that's why like a bunch of nurses, no, like once again, we got thick skin because of like who we did, like the population. And you have to think too, the population you deal with, they're sick. So and for the most part, it's due to like comorbidities or like lifestyle choice. So you're not getting like, I've never had like a healthy, unless it's like a genetic disorder, I've never had like, or a trauma, or like a devastating trauma. I've never had like a healthy guy or a healthy woman that came into the ICU that had to be like intubated and all that jazz. Because, you know, unfortunately, a lot of our patient population, there might be like a psych component that's going on. There's probably a drug addiction or something like that. Or why is your heart failing? Because of the meth you use and it created vegetation around the valves. Like you have to think like especially in the ICU, like you're getting, like they're sick. So they're not necessarily like
we can open Pandora's box.
Yeah. They're not necessarily like the nicest people.
Right. How often do you see like patients that are dealing with mental health or having mental breaks?
Not as much as a psych nurse.
Okay.
They are a whole different breed, and they need free food. They need more
everything.
Things. The psych nurses are, oh my gosh. But every day I go to work, there's some kind of mental health disorder like depression, schizo. It's the patient population. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's sick people are sick, so they're there for a reason. And there's a big portion of that like really is involved, or that contributes to them being at the hospital.
Woo!
So
I don't know. It's inspiring listening to you talk because you get up every day knowing what your fight is in front of you, whether it's how you choose to live your life sexually, the place that you have to go to work. So it seems like you're taking punches on the chin. Every corner you take, regardless. What keeps you motivated and inspired? Like, why do you continue to walk into your place of employment knowing that every day has the potential to ruin your day, has the potential to make your work environment toxic? How do you go in there with the outlook that you have?
Not to sound like a cliche, because there are some things that like are so cliche that I'm like, that's true though. It's like, live your life like it's the last day on earth. Like, potentially, I'm not promised that I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. So once again, when I found out and realized and understood that I was loved, that people like, I met so many people yesterday, other travel nurses on a boat hanging out. No one cared because they're cool people. And I don't feel pressured to surround myself with someone who doesn't agree with me or someone who doesn't want me to be around. Bye. I don't want to be around you anyways. And every day that I'm living, I am going to wear what I want now. And I am going to see and do and laugh and watch what I want now because someone cares for me. Someone loves me. There is a population of good people out there that I can go to. At work, yeah, it's hard and it sucks, but you know, you laugh with your coworkers. Nurses do. If you are a introverted or mean or like nasty person that doesn't want to be around anyone, nursing is not your gig because you need to rely on your coworkers so much. Talk about nitty gritty. You can't clean a butt by yourself. You can't turn a body over, and it is impossible. And you know, during codes, during traumas, it's all hands on deck, and we are going through it together. So we do, and like, you know, having a bad day at work, just text one of my nurse friends, and they're like, already know. Nurses aren't fun to hang out with in public together because all we do is talking about nursing. We don't want to. We do it so much. It's like our way to like, it's free therapy and it's our way to like, you know, decompress about, you know, our jobs.
Right.
But as far as like nursing goes, that's what makes it through. And there are a lot of days where I'm just like, why am I doing this?
But I feel like that's normal for anybody in their career.
Yeah.
I do have this question. Aside from like the normal things that would cause someone to be lonely, it could be like an absent parent. It can be, you know, lack of friends. Being in the community that you're in, do you sometimes feel like you're like on an island by yourself?
I actually do struggle with that a lot. I feel like there are, and like I said, and I talk to my friends about it sometimes, and sometimes it's funny because I feel like I get like pity nights where like everyone's like, okay, let's go to the gay bar for fawns, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you guys, but like I want to do it too, but like it's really hard. Like I don't have I do believe in like having a close few. I'm very extroverted and I'll talk and meet and love hanging out with other people. But I don't know, for me it's kind of hard. I just feel like I've never really been in. Forgive me, this could be this is what I call a group of gays, is a gaggle. But I've never really been like in a gaggle. Like I have like very set friends that are like homosexual that I like talk to, but like a lot of them are travel nurses too, all over the place. I just don't have like a whole lot of like it's like I definitely don't have a gay community out here. My gay community is when my friends are willing to go to the gay bars with me.
Right.
And that's just me personally. And so sometimes it can feel a little isolating. And like I said too, like when you do see the groups that look alike and you're not being invited, or there are moments where I'm like, maybe it's because I'm too feminine acting now, or maybe it's because I am, you know, wearing black all the time. And I've had a friend goes, yeah, but Fawns, if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be Fawns. So, and I'm like, you're right. Like, and it is more important for me because I got to where I am today of being what I want, listening and doing what I want, that is more important than me even wearing pastels or something like that, like in order to fit in and to insert myself into that group. So I think that is where things can be a little bit isolating. It's, you have to do one or the other sometimes. Do you want to do and be and say fawns? Or do you want to take a step back, limit yourself a little bit, and fit in? That's where isolation can come in. But thankfully,
Right.
they're just moments. But.
Right. But I mean, I think, you at the age that you're at right now, these are just moments because you're mature enough and you have the experience to know that. But for a person that all these moments are fresh and they're new, what does it mean to them? Like how do they maneuver in that space of understanding, like, take me as is or just don't take me at all? Like, how do they maneuver in that space?
I don't know. It's really, that's like a hard question, only because I have the rare, and I know it is a rare opportunity to have the support group that I have, that is just so loyal, so unwavering, so blindly accepting of me. So it's like I haven't had to, since college and since I've progressively become transitioned into who I wanted to be. Like, I haven't really had to experience that so much anymore, because it's hard. It is hard, and not everyone does have that. And like I said, it's a rare opportunity. I know every single day. Like I said, I was like, for me personally, that's why I'm happy.
Right.
Because I know it's so rare. I know that it's really, really hard to come by people that don't care, that mind their own business, that just want to be around me because I'm me, and that's it. So yeah, it's a challenge. Everyone has, and then I think a lot of it too, it's like even confidence plays a big key into it. And like I said, growing up, there were a lot of things I was like, I wasn't confident in it. And
that just happened over time, the confidence piece.
It really did. Like I said, it was such a switch. And if you can ask my friend Caleb, when he first met me and I was straight, like, you see pictures and stuff like that, I don't look like this. I mean, my personality was intact. It's still the same way and stuff like that, but it just was such a I know it's been such a big transition and stuff like that. I stopped growing my hair 3 years ago. Like, and that was just because it was a good idea. I actually stopped growing my hair with my friend Caleb. Okay. We thought it was funny. Everyone's like, why'd you stop? I was like, we thought it was funny, and then I just never cut it. But
what are some stereotypes that the general population, not the general population, for people that aren't in your guys' space, what are some stereotypes that you guys get all the time?
As far as being gay?
Correct.
Okay. Really, that it is a choice, that it can be an act of rebellion, that we're not religious. I personally don't practice a faith, but a lot of people put hand in hand, or you only get one option, and a lot of times too, that once again, we're artists, we're dancers, which we are. Dancers, or just something a little bit more flamboyant, or and you know what, and like, unfortunately, like, stereotypes exist for a reason, because there can be a common, essentially what a stereotype is a negative, like, commonality you see in a population, but it's always negative. But like, they exist to some extent, but yeah, just like skinny jeans, or like, we all like Britney Spears. Like, I only followed Britney Spears on Instagram because she was funny. Like, I don't know any Britney songs.
Right.
But there are a bunch of things. I mean, like I said, I was like, I love musicals. And I'll wear a skirt and stuff like that, or wear a blazer or a suit, or I guess I just do whatever really makes me feel comfortable.
Right, and you should live your best life. There's a term that is so loosely used. And I've always wanted to ask. You can hear a group of people that will be out with their friends. Somebody will say something like, "Oh, let's go there." Like, "No, bro, that's gay."
Yeah.
What does that represent to you? Or is that
Oh, I hate when people, that's like, because that was something that I didn't want to be growing up, and that's how people used it. That's gay. Fawns, don't do that. That's gay. Or like, that's so gay. Like, and that's why I was like, we're using this as a negative term. Like, that's not a good thing. We're not saying like, oh my gosh, that's so gay. Like, I mean, gay people say that now.
right?
And like, I think it's funny. Like you're like, oh my gosh, that's so gay. I love it. I can't wait. Like, and I feel like that's me taking back and providing positivity on a term. And like, or like queer. Queer used to be such a negative term too, and we're taking that back. Like, if you were queer, it like means like you're weird. I think like that's like the original.
What does it mean to be queer?
To be queer, that's a very like broad. It's like a very broad. I don't think there's like a single definition that you can like easily combine with queer.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that you just like a male likes a male.
No,
That would be gay, right?
Yeah, that's more specifically gay.
Okay.
Queer, I feel like, can be any involvement of that's not heteronormative. That's how I would simply put it. Like, I could, forgive me if I'm wrong, but like anything that is outside of heteronormativity, bi, transgender, poly relationships, anything like that. They, thems, being non-binary. I feel like that kind of, that's queer.
Okay.
And like, that's another word I love, because it was so negative.
For sure. I remember that.
Smear the queer.
I was just about to say that.
What?
What does that mean?
Let's chase the queer, the gay kid, and what, like, attack him?
That would never fly right now today.
As it shouldn't. I know, but that's like, that was the name of a game.
Was the name? I was just.
Oh
about
my
to say
gosh!
that.
Like weird. Like what?
I have another question. What are the pluses and everything after LGBTQ?
That's what they are. It's like all the extra. It's all the things that just aren't in the LGBTQ. And it's like the QIA plus anymore, because it's just everything. It's like the population as a whole genuinely wants equality. Back to that term. That's what that is. And it's just to be inclusive. And like when we had Pride this past weekend, it's like, I'm sorry, but like I do want to wave my little gay rainbow flag around, because I am able to do that now. I don't know if you, I don't know if you know a lot about like queer history and stuff like that, but like, have you heard of the Stonewall riots in New York City?
No.
It was this big, it was actually, I forget her name. It was actually started by a transgender Black woman, I think in the 80s. I'm sorry, I'm bad with numbers. Everyone's gonna be like, that happened 3 days ago. I'm like, oh, it did? Sorry. And he threw the police. There was the Stonewall is like a famous, I think it's the oldest gay bar in New York City. And so like the police were like trying to take it down, and this Black transgender woman, I think, threw a brick at him, and like it just went down. And I'm not saying violence is the answer, but I'm just saying like they were telling them no. They were legally telling them they couldn't be gay. They were legally telling these people, you're not a girl. I said you're not a girl. You're not a boy. I said you're not a boy. You can't kiss that person. They legally were telling us this. And it's something that's why, like, you know, I feel like the gay population is so involved and so intrigued and demanding of women's rights and, Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. Because, I mean, you all went through it too. Ours was just kind of at the end of things. Like, is that right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no,
ours was just a little bit later. Like,
it's crazy that we're all standing up to the same bully.
yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's so, and the bully is being right. The bully is correct. The bully is this person, this box that we have to fit in and we are demanded to. That's the bully. Like, and and I'm gonna be very honest, just because I know we kind of touched in on how like white gay men can kind of flock, but you know what? Being of color, that does not mean that I was safe to be gay. Once again, as I said,
I was just gonna ask that.
Like that is not, those do not go hand in hand. That is not things. Some cultures really cool. Shout out to the Samoans and a lot of the Native Americans.
We're shouting out.
We're shouting out.
Shout out to the Samoans.
To
baby.
you. They like in their culture and their history, they have like terms and kind of places and acceptance for what we call queer people. I believe the term, there was almost like a, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I grew up with a bunch of Samoans, and there was like a position sometimes in a household for like men that acted more like women, and it wasn't like degrading. They like let them wear dresses and stuff. And in Native American, in some Native American tribes, it's called two-spirited, which is that is a very exclusive queer term for Native Americans, and it just means you're part feminism and you're part masculine, and that's what your spirit is. Like, you have two spirits inside one body. And so it wasn't bad to be in those cultures, in those histories, and something that was washed out a lot of the time.
Makes sense. Within the community that you guys, is that how you would say it, within the community that you're in?
I would say, yeah, the community.
Cool.
Yeah.
So within the community that you're in, do you support, let me ask a different question.
I like to point out too, I'm a nurse. So if I'm saying anything wrong, I'm not a political like anything. So I'm just shouting that out there.
Shout it out.
So better not get canceled.
So I have a question for you. And if you don't feel comfortable, then just be what it is.
Yeah.
There has been so much talk these days about how many genders there are. Where do you stand in that space?
Once again, mind your own business.
Mind it.
Mind literally. I promise you, I'm such a brat. Like, that's like you talking, like, if someone confronts me, I'm like, no. Like, I just don't care. Mind your own business. Who cares? Like, I'm sorry that once again, like, I don't view or understand or want to be what you put me in. And that's like the crazy part, like, they, them. Because there's other ones too, like Z, them. There's a lot out there. But like, when everyone, they, them was always got on my nerves when it first, in a good, I'm for it. These like straight people that once again want to put us in our boxes. I just don't understand, why can't they just identify as what they want? Why do they have to be gender? Once again, why does it matter to you? I'm sorry that you defined boy. Once again, this right guy, right, this person, this entity that defined things, that said this is, correct. He said this is what a boy is, period. And he said this is what a girl is, period. No ifs, no ands, no buts, everything else. Like, so when we didn't feel that way, when people don't feel that they can fit under your boy or your girl, what else do you want me to be then? I don't feel that way. And it's like you said, like we said earlier, like, I didn't think I was gay, or, I mean, like I said, I was like, I'm gay. Like, I like other men. I'm a boy and I like boys. And there's nothing that changed. There's nothing that happened. There was no event. That's who I am. And so when the pronouns came out and, we were able to do non-binary and stuff like that, and everyone was complaining about it, I was like, are you going to change it? Then don't worry about it. Stop. Why is it angering you so much? Because it angers me that I can't just do what I want. I can't live equally the way you
right.
want.
You're not giving an input as to what somebody eats for dinner, right? Like, because you don't care.
Right.
But like, I would have an input on who you could be with.
Correct.
Because for some strange reason, it bothers me so much that I need to
so
share
much.
that.
I hate seeing that. I hate seeing your unfitted pants.
Right.
So how about that? Like,
so when I really think about it, when I go back to like elementary school, right? I hated women. I hated girls. I'm
just kidding.
I hated girls, but at recess, I couldn't stop chasing them. I couldn't stop chasing them and running around. And it was because I actually liked them.
Yeah.
So like, what is it to say that if I hate something so much, there has to be something deep down in that like, I like it. I don't know if I like the attention from what you may have to say, or I may just want to live vicariously through you.
I this is my opinion. I don't always think something that gets on my nerves that like some people, drunk gay guys, can do is like, everyone's a little gay. No, they're not. Like, once again, like, why do you have to, like, my friend doesn't want to be with a guy. Who cares? Simple. Don't worry about it. Like, and I don't think everyone, like I said, I know there is a lot of people that are out there hiding it or like keeping it in. And don't get me wrong, if you're in the closet, I hope that one day you find safe place. I hope you find acceptance, and I hope you understand that there is a community out there. But you know what I don't like is when you do that, and kind of like what you're saying, where like you might be gay or you're thinking about these thoughts, and then you just like smear the queer. You know, you like over dramatize and like you have to bury it deep by, projecting it negatively on them. Mm-hmm. That's what I do not like. And that makes like concepts like that make me so uncomfortable. Like I said, I was like, not everyone has to be gay. I don't think everyone is on the spectrum of, sexuality or whatever. Like, some people just are heterosexual. That's fine. Some people are asexual. Some people don't even want to be with anyone.
But we don't hear any of that.
Yeah.
We don't hear the backlash of that.
I mean, because once again, we're not supposed to really talk about it. Like,
right. So I got a question. Dang, there's so many questions. So
you got one more.
I got one more. We're done.
Looking to start a podcast, live stream, make a presentation, or perform on stage? Samson has all the gear you need to help you become a successful content creator. To learn more, visit samsontech.com.
In the straight community, there are people that are just stuck up.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me, like blah, 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 this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
For some strange reason, and it could just be the energy you're giving off, that the community that you guys are in, they're more welcoming.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I have only heard good things about going to gay bars and how welcoming people are and how nice they are. And even if you're not gay, it's still a place where you can be.
Oh, like legitimately, like my poor friends, like I said, I was like, I know they actually like going to them, but like I always call it, I'm like, oh, it's Fonzo's pity night. We get to go to the gay bars. No, but like the girls even, once again, Caleb, his wife, Angela, like we, sometimes if Caleb's working, me and Angela are very close too. Sometimes we'll go to gay bars because it's just safer. Like, I'm not worried about some guy gonna have to like grab my friend's wife, like literally grab her, like touch her and stuff like that. Like, and you see that happen at a lot of straight bars. Like,
yes,
it happens to at gay bars too. But once again, I'll be the one. You gonna ask? Like, cause and being drunk is not an excuse. That's where I'm at. Being drunk is not an excuse. But you are I was actually out with a friend the other night, and my roommate had friends come over, and they were straight guys. They were like, "Oh, cool, we'll take them to lounges." But the girl I was with, she goes, "No, we're gonna go to the queer bar." I was like, "Okay," like, cause she loved, and that's what she said. No, I love going to queer bar. I can dance and be fun and spin around and wear glitter and do all the things that I want,
Not be groped
and not be groped or not have to worry about like, being insecure or doing whatever. Like, yeah.
This question here. I don't even know how to. I don't know how to say this. But why are you guys so fun?
Because, I have an answer for this. Because
you guys are lit.
Because once again, like we had to, when we weren't gay, when we weren't made, before when we were, once again, like every gay person, every queer person has to come out as queer. But before that time, we are very limited and we're very, like shy. We're nervous. When I was a kid, like Pokemon. I used to I love Pokemon still. And I was afraid that like other kids would think I was weird or gay for liking Pokemon. Like it was that sounds crazy, but like I was like, I guess like even like a 12-year-old, I was like really insecure about it. Like, so you just hide all the time and you are hiding. And that's the thing. And like I said, I was like, you know what? If you're a gay man and, you still, straight jeans, whatever. Like I said, they exist too. Like, cool. But him not being able to say that he likes other men, like that could be threatening. So now that we're open, now that we're out of the closet, it's like we want to have fun. We want to do all the things that like we're told was wrong. That was told, don't, like this. I don't know. That's such a long answer.
But it makes sense because like I haven't had any bad experience around like gay people. I'm like stuttering over this word as if it's like a bad word.
Work.
I've never had a bad experience. There was one time I had just graduated college and I was at 24 Hour Fitness downtown. And there was this chick at the front desk. I was like, dude, she's cute. So I walked over to the guy at the front desk, not knowing he was gay, straight, whatever the situation was, and was like, who's that? He's like, oh, that's my coworker, Courtney. Ask her for her phone number. And I was like, no, that's not for me.
Yeah.
So I go home and call the gym and then mustered up the courage.
Yeah.
I see the guy at a house party several months later. And he walked over to me and was like, do you remember me? And I said, you have a familiar face. He was like, I'm the guy that worked at 24 Hour Fitness. I was like, yo, Courtney gave me her phone number and never hit me back. I have never been put in my place, but it was so good though.
I will put someone in their place.
He said it like this. He said, oh, she just wasn't interested. I mean, look at you. And to me, I was like, I died inside, but it was so hilarious.
We're gonna learn a little gay vocab right now.
Let me
ready?
Get that. I need
That's
it.
called reading. When you read someone.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Reading someone is just like reading someone is just like I don't know. It's mean. It's not nice. Okay. It's like you read them like you read them up and down like
he knew from the
jump.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
why would she? That's reading. Well, I'm gonna read you. Why would she?
That was the vibe right there.
Period. Oh yeah, I was like, I have, and also I probably don't have a lot of friends because I have RBF, especially when I'm at the bar. I'm just like, stop looking so bored all the time. But I am. I'm always bored.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wait, so he read me.
That was reading. Yeah.
And he didn't even hesitate.
Oh no.
To tell me.
Oh no. And you know what's another fun defense mechanism gay people had? Because I can. Sometimes like the things that I say, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm gonna get us in a fight one day. Because like I grew up once again being teased. So I had to like be quicker. I had to be wittier. I had to be like, say something clever. Cause it's like, you beat me, you called me gay, and I'm twirling in the corner. Like, what do I have to quick, like, just something back,
Right.
Because, and I swear, I literally told, I'm like, it's a gay defense mechanism. We grew up being like, getting messed with. Like,
But like at the core of who you are, you're still a man. Like
Yeah.
a physical person, like you can defend yourself.
yeah.
One thing that I've noticed, and I've had to, I used to live in Los Angeles. And I remember I was outside of a Whole Foods one day. And there was this gay dude with his husband or boyfriend. I don't know the situation.
Work.
And this like homeless guy was just ratting off at the mouth. And I'm like, so what's the objective here? Well, he's gay, yada, yada, yada. But he's still a guy and he'll fight you like a guy.
Oh, throat punch. Psh, Nursing
Oh.
101, ABCs, no airway. You going down.
No
Sorry.
airway, okay.
No airway. Straight to the throat. I'm small. Not the smallest, but I'm not. I tell people all the time, if I get in a fight, I'm going for their throat. Like, I don't need someone coming back for me later.
No airway.
No airway. I was going to save in a case Ree got in a fight, but it's
Man.
fine. But nope, straight throat punch.
Straight for the throat.
punch. My teacher told me that in nursing school. She goes, no airway. ABC is first thing we learn in nursing. I go, work.
Work. We're
Work.
good.
Okay.
Done.
Yep.
But it's just like, it's so weird. I think that people forget. Like, I hear it all the time, like, well, he's gay, but that doesn't mean he can't defend himself.
Correct.
Or she's this. It also doesn't mean she can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
I'll speak from personal experiences. I was bullied. At a
Yeah.
certain point in your life, you're like, enough is enough.
Oh,
And even-
absolutely.
Right. And even
absolutely.
if I lose this fight,
Yeah.
I'm going to defend myself.
Correct. Yeah.
When you push a person to a certain point, they're going to respond either way.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be like, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, you guys are just fighting to be equal, not for anything else.
Yeah.
It's just I can't even put things into words because like I'm just so like baffled in my head
Yeah.
that like we as a country, we as a population, we as a human race are able to dictate how you live your own personal life. Tell you what you can believe in, tell you what time you need to go to bed, what time you need to report, who you can spend your time with,
Correct.
how you can spend your money, and then where you can live.
Mm-hmm.
But in that same sentence, we're the home of the free. You
I'll go
you
get in
can't
trouble.
walk right, but you can't walk down the street without somebody either thinking something or wanting to say something. I can't do that either. I can't walk down the street.
And you know what? And this is the thing about that. Once again, I don't want to be around you anyways. So
Right.
if you see me and you like have some little snide comment or whatever, I don't care. Take your grandpa jeans, look the other way. Because I'm not, like I said, it was like for me, I'm definitely the one in my social circle. I am not going to be the one to not defend myself, not stick up for myself. If I want to wear all black and I want to wear a skirt one day, cool. If I don't, and I'm not going to stop doing it to make you comfortable, because guess what? You're making me uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
So
Here we go.
that's where I'm at about that. Like,
World of TikTok. This
look
lady,
away.
this lady, it was a talk show from way back when. And this lady, she was a heavier woman, white woman. And it was about race. And she was like, I just don't like black people. I think that they're beneath us and that they're sloppy and that they're ugly and this, that, and that. So the talk show host gave the mic to the black lady. And the black lady said it just like this, going off of your point. She said, I just don't understand the world we live in, where a person like that.
Correct. Correct. Because you know what? I'm sorry, but I know I'm better dressed than you. Straight man who doesn't want to see me. Like, no, I know you do not got the
I'm
Gucci belt.
dead.
I know you do not know how to vintage shop because your sloppy shirt with all the grease stains, go away. I don't want to see you
Go
either.
in.
You're making my beautiful area not cute. Walk away.
Ruining
Bye.
your property value, huh?
Bye. I agree.
It was just like, it was so funny because it just made so much sense. Like,
Yeah.
you're casting judgment and haven't looked in the mirror yet.
Because that's what it all comes back to as far as like it's like being in charge of someone, being over someone, having the power to tell someone what to do. That makes me feel better about myself, right? If I get to tell you, no shoes on in the house, I'm the king of this house, right? And sometimes people just, and I get it, like not everyone has to be confident and stuff like that, but like I personally feel like the queer population, we are a lot more outspoken and we are a little bit more, fun and lively, because it's like, I don't care. Once again, like that's not my goal, is to one up you. I don't have to put you down to make me feel better.
Right.
That is not my goal. But that's other people's goals. What that white woman said was her goal. She said, Black people just aren't blah, blah, blah. So because they have a difference between them that she can identify as and say it's bad, then that means she's better. That's what it comes down to. People just want to be better, or like I am like not, I know you're an ex-professional athlete. I am not competitive at all. Like it even like to the point where like we were playing beer pong or something like that the other day, and I was like, and everyone like immediately Caleb's like, don't even ask him. And I was like, I don't care if I win. Like there's like no competitive like there's like things like that. I don't know. That's just me personally. I know, but like I am not competitive like that. Like I don't want to be better than someone. I don't want you to look exactly like me. I don't care about it. I love meeting people from other places and that look different, because it's like we have a story.
For sure.
Someone's got a story. You've been around this earth. Even if you're around this earth for 40 years twiddling your thumbs, tell me, 40 years twiddling your thumbs that whole time? Never heard that before? New story for me.
Let me ask you this.
Never heard that before.
Right. Knowing what you know now, in the spaces that you've been in, particularly the LGBTQ space, what would you have told yourself, knowing what you know now, 10 years ago?
Oh, 10 years ago. Oh, yeah, I was straight back then.
Oh.
It's going to be fine. Like, it's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Like, all of this is just temporary. Just keep going for it. And like I said, like 17 years ago, I didn't want to admit that I was gay. I was talking to a girl once, and I literally convinced myself, I was like, but I was sleeping with men. And I was like, and she always wanted to go on a date, always like wanted to kiss me. And then one time I was like, I can't do that, because once I do that with her, I'm going to stay committed to her and be married. Like I know I'm going to marry her. I convinced myself of this.
Right.
And so I was like, but I'm sleeping with men right now, so I don't want to do that to her.
How can I put this? Was it tough finding a partner?
I'm single.
When you...
I don't want to be, but
it is what it is.
He just assumed because I'm so fun.
So when you first started experimenting or having these experiences with men,
yes.
Was it hard to find a guy, or was it hard for you to see what the options were? So
you're going to learn another gay term. It's called Grindr.
Ooh.
That
sounds like a sandwich, though.
It is an app. It is a dating app for gay men. And you see it. It's like a grid.
Mm-hmm.
I just had my like height and weight. Gay people are terrible.
You said you had your height.
You can have your height, weight.
Different.
Strange.
Offbeat.
Visionary.
Genius.
Amazing.
What makes you different makes you great.
Embrace your punch.
Like you can have these stats about you on your profile.
Mm-hmm.
And so like my Grindr profile when I was younger, it just had my age, my height, and no picture. And if I wanted to pursue someone, I would send a picture because I wasn't out. So
right.
I didn't want to like accidentally be seen.
Right.
The first time, so I actually went out with this gay couple one time, and they're married now, love them. But him and one of the guys and me were both in the closet. So when we went to the bar, the other one who was a little bit more feminine, if we want to, whatever, talk about that. He wanted to dance with him, but he wouldn't dance with him because he was like, he didn't want to be out. So I actually was like drunk at this point. I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll dance with you. And we danced. And then a guy after came up to me, and this was the first time I ever got hit on by a man, in a bar or like anywhere, really, anywhere public, anything that was like my first gay interaction without it being like from this app. And he asked if he'd get my number and stuff like that. And we chatted for a minute and stuff like that. And it was like, that was the first time I ever had, I guess, like human interaction.
Another question.
Okay.
We're doing it.
We did. I got all day. My roommate's watching my dog. We're good.
See, that's what I like.
Exactly.
So was it easier to meet someone who was also in the closet so you wouldn't be outed?
Yes. He was like one of my first gay friends because I didn't have to, you know what I mean? Like we like had a secret, but like we didn't have to, I don't know. I wasn't going to be outed. We never went to gay bars. You know what I mean? Like we did later when we both came out, but we never did any, like we never held hands or anything like that. And he acted really bro-y and stuff like that. So that was way, you kind of went for those guys. Other DL dudes.
Just because
it was just easier. Yeah.
okay. This day and age with social media being like the norm for a kid that's in high school right now, male, female, whatever the situation may be, if they're watching this episode and they're still trying to find guidance, they're still trying to look for different answers to questions they may not even know. What's something that you have gone through, went through, and currently is still dealing with in order for you to be the best version of yourself? And what would you tell these individuals that don't have the strength, the confidence, the motivation that it's okay? What would you say to that?
I would say, one, this current generation of teens, really cool. I'm thoroughly impressed. I have nieces in high school and stuff like that, and it is so normalized for these kids that like they tell people all the time, I'm gay. Like, oh, I have a gay uncle. Yeah, like whatever. Like it, like they promote it. Like it's so cool. But I know that's not safe for everyone, and I know that's not everywhere. What I would want to, if I was to them, be safe. Hiding is really dangerous. Sometimes there were questionable things that I like did, like not like, you know, like me just meeting
Being
people that I was meeting on the internet. Like it's scary, and no one knew where I was going. I would like sneak out of my like house and like apartment and stuff like that to meet up with guys, like, or you know, to even go on a date. Like, so just be safe. It literally like, I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I alive? You don't know who's out there. Be safe. Find someone find a friend. There has to be someone. Once again, surround yourself. And if there isn't someone right now, look for them. Someone out there will be your safety net. And that person will help you blossom. That's who Caleb was for me, like completely blossomed into who I am today. And even though, and the biggest fear of coming out too, especially like I was actually out in Indianapolis for, I think like almost a year before I came out to my family. And I just remember crying and knowing that this is going to go two ways. either my mom will love and accept me or she won't. But it was so much more important for me now, obviously, to be who I am. And that's where like I talk about like my friendships are so rare because these people do care and they've never made me feel judged. And honestly, like I said, and if someone does make you feel judged, someone does make you feel bad about yourself, get rid of them. Get a new crowd. We have one life. I personally don't know what's going to go on after. But while I'm here, I'm going to live every single day and have fun. And if I want to get dressed up, I'm going to be dressed up. I thought we were just going to talk over, like I didn't know there were going to be cameras. So, and I wore this because it's comfortable and it's kind of hot out. Do what you want. Do whatever makes you happy. You only have one life. Be happy in it. Enjoy it. Whatever you want to do it. Like, why not? I'm a grown adult now and I watch so much anime and that was another thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like things that like my friends don't do.
Right.
But
it's you.
And it's me. Like, don't worry about fitting in. Like, seriously. That is a cliche concept, but it is so true. Do not worry about fitting in. And you know what? Honestly, high school wasn't that great for me. And like I said, just keep pushing through because it is going to get better if you have that mindset of like, it's going to get better. I'm going to do this to get it better and do it. Keep promoting your own, positivity. Keep promoting every single day. Like I went to school. I had to figure out, I'm the first in my family to go to college. I had to figure out how I was going to get into college. I had to figure out, then I was like, you know what? I'm going to move to Indiana because I just wanted to get away. I had to save money. Like do everything that you have to do. Make sure that it's promoting your life that you want. Because we're not going to get everything. I wasn't handed anything in this world. So I had to earn it. And I still, if I want to go on vacation next week, hello, I got to go to work. But keep going. And I hope, and I want every single person that feels that they are in the closet or that feels that they can't come out, do it. Like I said, it sucks. And you know what? Like, it was sad. I mean, I was ready to like get rid of or like, cut ties off with my mom. And so many people have. And it's so sad that we live in a world like that. You hear horror stories from the way people treat their kids. But once again, you know what? If familiar love isn't thorough, if it's not true, if it's not, pure, then that's fine. Like I said, find that person who's gonna love you. Like they're out there, and it's a friend, or just come to a queer adult. We'll take you in. Like, you can't sleep at my house, but we get like lunch or something. But
so I want to finish up by saying we live in a space where not everyone's going to be accepted for what they look like, their preference on what they want to do with their self in life, who they want to spend their time with, or what. Hearing Alfonzo speak, or Fonz, hearing Fonz speak really shines light on no matter what it is that you got going on, it is your life to live and the decisions that you choose to make. I want to thank you guys for listening today. This podcast to me really opened my eyes and it shined a lot of knowledge on things that I was uncertain of. And I know there's a lot of people out there with a ton of questions. And from what I've learned today, hear it from the source and not from the media. That is the most important thing that I've heard today, is hear it from the source. We're all able to form our own opinions, but we're not living the life of another person. We're living our own life. So with that being said, I want to thank you for coming out today.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's fun.
And we will see you guys soon. Alrighty.